Welcome back to another fantasy fight. This time Gerry Cooney goes up against Rocky Marciano. These are two of the most popular fighters in history. Cooney coming out of the New York area. Marciano coming out of Boston, Massachusetts area. Cooney representing the Irish and Rocky Marciano representing the proud Italians. Let's take a look at Gerry Cooney. Cooney stood 6'6", 225, had an 81-inch reach, and his career record was 28-3-0. He burst onto the national scene like a rocket in 1980. He knocked out Jimmy Young in the 4th round. He put down Ron Lyle in the 1st round, and that set up his big showdown with one of the top contenders, Ken Norton, in 1981, and he knocked him out in the 1st round on national TV. That set up his 1982 title shot at Larry Holmes, in which he lost a 13th round knockout. Cooney was extremely popular and a devastating puncher, and we'll look more in detail at him as we look at his fights. Next up, we're going to take a look at Rocky Marciano, 5'10 and a half, 185 pounds in his prime. Held the title from 1952 to 1956. Had only a 68-inch reach. Of course, he's most famous for that undefeated record. This is going to be an interesting fight because of the contrast in style and size. Marciano was one of the most popular fighters of all time. Burst on the national scene really in 1951 with his victory over Joe Louis, and went on to win the title in 1952 over Jersey Joe Walcott. He retired after his 1955 victory over Archie Moore.
From Brockton, Massachusetts, wearing white trunks with a black stripe, weighing 184, 1/2 pounds, the world's heavyweight champion, Rocky Marciano. And now,
undefeated in 24 professional fights with 21 knockouts. He hails from Huntington, New York, 225.25 pounds. He's decked out in all green with white and red stripes. Gentlemen, Gerry Cooney.
Okay, now we're going to take a close look at Rocky Marciano in his 1955 fight against Archie Moore. Notice Rocky's style. He's 5'10 and a half, 185 pounds. This was his last fight, and this is the 9th round. He just beats his opponents into submission. He wears them out. Archie Moore came up from the light heavyweight division. He weighed 188 pounds going into this fight. But this is Marciano's style. Very seldom does he just take a one-blow knockout. Next, we're going to look at Roland Lastarza. In their first fight in 1950, Lastarza basically held Marciano to a draw. The referee stepped in and gave Marciano the fight with a 9-6 advantage, splitting the judges. It was 5-5, 4-5, 5-4. And this is their rematch for the title. And you can see some action for Rocky here. Here's Rocky in his 1954 fight against Ezzard Charles, former champion. And once again, notice how it takes a number of blows to defeat his opponent. He wins a 15-round decision. Notice both of their faces are badly beaten. Their rematch in 1954, Rocky won a desperate fight in the 8th round by a knockout because he had sustained a really bad cut, and the fight was going to be stopped if he didn't come up with a knockout. And here is Rocky in his first round knockout in his rematch with Jersey Joe Walcott. This is one of the few times it took one punch, and it's not one of the better referee fights. As you can see, Walcott was well on his way to getting to his feet, but the referee called the fight, and that was the end of the fight. Now let's take a closer look at Gerry Cooney in his 1981 fight against Ken Norton. This is a first-round action, and you notice Cooney can take you out with one punch. Tremendous offensive fighter. Norton had 3 fights against Ali, former top contender, and Cooney is wailing on him. He's a hard hitter. He's got a great left hook, tremendous jab, and when he gets you hurt, he's going to take you out. He did not beat people with a culmination of punches. He usually took you out with 1 or 2. Here he is against Ron Lyle in their 1980 fight. Ends in another first round. And Ron Lyle was a outstanding boxer in the 70s. He was on his downhill here. A lot of people didn't give him Cooney much credit for this win, but nonetheless, people weren't jumping in the ring to fight Ron Lyle. And you notice Cooney is not backing down. Lyle, earlier in his career, put George Foreman on the canvas, so he had a lot of power. Knocks him out. Cooney knocks him out with actually a body punch. There it is right there. Okay, this is Philip Brown, a little bit later in Cooney's career after the Larry Holmes fight in 1984. He was making a little comeback. Give you an idea of the size of Philip Brown. He was 6'3", 240. He weighed 55 pounds more than Rocky Marciano. And you can see what Cooney's doing to him. He's all over him. This is a 4th round action. A lot of power. Remember, Cooney had a little drug and alcohol abuse problem in his career, which really set him back. But when he did fight, he was full of action. Next, we're looking at the Larry Holmes-Gerry Cooney fight. A lot of people criticized Cooney and said he couldn't box, that he was just a slugger. But that's not the case. He went 13 rounds with Larry Holmes, and basically the fight was even at that point, outside of a few low blows by Cooney, which gave Holmes the advantage. But you can see he's a talented boxer, very good hands, good jab. He's very, very competitive. Cooney was very disappointed that they didn't have a rematch in this fight. Now let's take a look at the comparison chart between Cooney and Marciano. Cooney has the advantage in hand speed. He also is a better boxer. KO power, both of them could take you out with one punch. Chin, I'm going to give Marciano a slight edge there. Size, Cooney has a big, big advantage. 6'6" compared to 5'10". 8 inches taller, has a 13-inch reach advantage. Defense, Marciano. Endurance, Marciano. Advantage in both those areas. As we move on here, adaptability. Both of them pretty much stayed in their own lane as far as fighting. Foot speed, similar. Strength, similar. Both of them very strong. Cooney has a big advantage in jab. Also, he has a big advantage in cuts. Marciano was very susceptible to cuts, lost no fights due to him, but came close to, especially the Charles fight. Reach, 13-inch reach for Gerry Cooney. Body attack, although Cooney was a good body puncher, I'm going to give Marciano a slight advantage there. The total 6'4". Cooney has the advantage in the comparison chart. Before I render my decision, please hit the like button and subscribe, and I'd love to know who you think would win. I usually don't get into numbers too much, but on this fight I definitely have to. If you take Marciano's top 5 opponents during his title run, their average size was 6 foot, 195 pounds, and their age was 36. average age. That's Walcott, Charles, Moore, Joe Louis. Cooney, on the other hand, average age of his top 5 opponents is 34, a couple years younger, and the average size of the opponents is 6'3", 222, which is a difference of 27 pounds and 3 inches. So Cooney, Jimmy Young, Ron Lyle, Ken Norton, Larry Holmes, those people, a great deal of difference. Cooney also has an 8-inch height advantage, 13-inch reach advantage, and a 41-pound weight advantage. The reason I point out all these numbers is Rocky Marciano never faced anyone near Gerry Cooney's size and speed in his prime. He just never did. Cooney was a tremendous offensive fighter with a great jab and a tremendous left hook. Marciano was known for his endurance. He was a very good defensive fighter. He stayed low. But Marciano won most of his fights over the long haul, pounding on people. I got to go with Gerry Cooney in this fight. I think his jab is the difference. I think he's going to be able to fight long range against Marciano. And once again, Marciano's Achilles heel was his cuts. And I think Gerry Cooney is going to win. The fight's going to be stopped in probably the 9th, 10th round due to cuts. I know that's going to rub a lot of people the wrong way, but that's the way I see it. Love to hear your comments. Thanks for watching. Now let's take a look at the brackets. Gerry Cooney advanced against Rocky Marciano. He'll take on the winner of the Larry Holmes-David Tua fight. Thanks for watching.